sorry about the ending to part 1. I had heartburn and a really dry spot in my throat. The dry spot is actually still there. It won't go away. So I'm sorry if I talk oddly. It doesn't feel very good. Anyway, so the ambulance was on its way. At this point it was about 11 o'clock or so, and I was starting to feel a lot of pressure. I was sitting on the toilet in the bathroom, pretty much pushing at that point. My mom told me I should get checked one more time before going anywhere with the pressure I was feeling. Didn't want to end up having the baby in the ambulance with Jay following behind us in the car and have him miss everything. My midwife told me that I was 10 centimeters and ready to start pushing, but she was lying. I was actually about 9.5 centimeters. I still had a bit of cervix on one side, but I'm very happy that she lied to me, because I would hate myself really if I had have gone to the hospital and had the epidural. So she had the ambulance leave, and I got to have the birth I wanted. So I got on the bed. I started pushing, lying on my back, but that just wasn't working. I moved to a squatting position on the floor. I tried the birthing stool, but that just hurt my tailbone so bad with him having his back against mine. I went on the toilet, and my mom kept telling me to wake my son. Crap, I woke my son up. Anyways, as I was saying, my mom kept telling me to not push on the toilet. She didn't want me to push him out into the toilet, but my pushing stage lasted 4 hours, so she had nothing to worry about. Aiden finally turned enough that my back wasn't hurting as much. Not to mention the pain it was causing in my legs every contraction. It was unbearable. It was horrible, the worst thing I have ever felt in my life. So it took from 11:30 in the morning till 3:34 p.m. to push my big boy out. The pain having his big head come out that tiny hole was insane. It burnt, and it felt like I was going to tear from my vagina up through my clitoris. It was awful. Luckily I didn't tear at all, but I didn't want to keep pushing because I was so afraid that I would tear. I was screaming out things like, what the fuck was I thinking, and I can't do it. My mom and my sister were telling me that I could do it, and to push really hard, and to relax so that I didn't tear. It's like, yeah, tell me that. That's gonna really make me want to push more. And they kept telling me that he was coming, that they could see his head. This is it, but it never was it. It took so long. I could have kicked them in the face every time they said that he was almost here, and he wasn't. Because each contraction I had, his head would come out a little more, but then it would pop back in. It was such a relief when his head was out all the way. But just before the next contraction to push out his shoulders, he started to wiggle. And it was the strangest, most awkward feeling to have a head hanging out between my legs and to have him wiggling around inside my belly. Oh boy, very, very strange feeling. The next contraction came, and I pushed as hard as I could while the midwives pulled and moved him around to get him out. He had one of his hands up by his face, so it made it harder to get him out, and it was more painful also because of it. I even had to push to get his feet out. They were so big. His first cry was the most amazing thing to hear, and I was so happy to finally have him in my arms. And he was covered in all of his white gunk, trying so hard to open his eyes. On the video, as I watched it the other night, I had the biggest smile on my face as soon as he was out and I could see him. It was the greatest moment of my life. The first thing I ever said to him was, "Thank God you're out, Aiden. You're huge." Isn't that sweet? Anyways, we waited for the umbilical cord to stop pulsing before we cut it. Jay did the honors. The next contractions, I pushed out the placenta. I was so happy that the whole process was finally over, but little did I know that I would continue to have contractions while breastfeeding to shrink down my uterus. Nobody told me about that, and it sucked. Yeah, so I guess that's my story. I'm really looking forward to doing it all again, but after rewatching my birth video and kind of remembering how bad the pain really was, I am terrified. But epidural is not an option anymore in my mind. Never ever going to happen. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze, so I'm going to shut this off now. Thanks for watching.